Dear students, I am proudly here to present to you India's best prelims test series, that is TPS 2020, provided by Neo IAS Academy. This test series will be available both in the offline and the online format. For the students choosing to write this in the offline format, the centers are located in Kochi and in Trivandrum. For the students who would like to write this in the online format, please click on the link given in the description below. This test series will be commencing tomorrow, that is on 27th of October 2019. The timing of this examination will be from 9 AM to 11 AM. The first test in this test series will be free for all. So I welcome you all to join TPS 2020, build your future and then turn your dreams into reality. Hello and welcome to a day in 15 minutes UPSC Prelims Daily Current Affairs by Neo IAS. So here today the topics for the day are Colombo Declaration on Sustainable Nitrogen Management, Open General Export Licenses, GST Network, Indigent Genome Project, India, Nepal, Bhutan Trans-Border Conservation Area, and finally Genome Portal of 2019. Coming to our first topic of the day, which is the Colombo Declaration on Sustainable Nitrogen Management. Now this is the news because the member states of United Nations has actually endorsed a proposed roadmap for the action on nitrogen challenges, and they called it Colombo Declaration on Sustainable Nitrogen Management. To talk a little bit more about this, understand this is a 2-day event and it was conducted to frame the declaration. Okay. Now the event was spearheaded by Sri Lanka, and with Sri Lanka the other UN members also supported it. Now as a part of the declaration, the environment ministers and other officials from over 30 countries has endorsed this plan and has agreed for a campaign on sustainable nitrogen management, and they called it Nitrogen for Life. Coming to the Colombo Declaration, now the aim of the declaration is to basically halve nitrogen waste by 2030. Now for this it calls upon the United Nations agencies, other international organizations, academia, institutions, civil society organizations, etc. to support and help the United Nations in the implementation of this declaration. Now here it urges countries to conduct a comprehensive assessment on nitrogen cycling. Okay, now that will cover policy, implementation, regulation, etc. and also make the people understand the natural nitrogen cycle and how humans impact or alter its balance in the environment. Now the declaration was developed with the technical support of International Nitrogen Management System, INMS. So now talking about the INMS, the INMS is basically a joint activity of the UNEP and International Nitrogen Initiative. It brings together science community, the private sector and the civil society to gather and synthesize evidence that can support international policy development to improve global nitrogen management. Coming and talking about the International Nitrogen Initiative, the INI is basically an international program which was set up in 2003 and was set up under the sponsorship of SCOPE. Now SCOPE full form is Scientific Committee on Problems of the Environment. Now with that it also has the contribution from the International Geosphere Biosphere Program. Now the main aim, the key aims of INI is to optimize nitrogen's beneficial role in sustainable food production, and the second main aim is to minimize nitrogen's negative effects on human health and environment resulting from the food and energy production. Coming to our next topic, which is Open General Export Licenses. Now this is in news because the Defense Minister has actually approved issuance of 2 open general export licenses, and this is going to be for the export of defense equipments to 14 different countries. Now talking about this license, the OGEL is basically a one-time export license which is going to be granted to a company for a specific period, and initially that period is going to be 2 years. Now the application for grant of OGEL will be considered by the Department of Defense Production on a case-by-case basis. Now I mentioned 14 countries are allowed. Now the 14 countries are Belgium, France, Germany, Japan, South Africa, Spain, Sweden, UK, USA, Canada, Italy, Poland and finally Mexico. Now the export of these items to a special economic zone is not permitted under the open general export licenses. Now talking about the items that are actually permitted for export is going to be ammunition and fuse setting device without the energetic and explosive material, firing control and related alerting and warning equipments, and finally we have the body protective items also. One thing you have to note down here is that complete aircraft or complete unmanned aerial vehicles or any component which is specifically designed or modified for unmanned aerial vehicles are excluded from the export under this license. Now, for acquiring the license, the applicant is mandatory to have an import-export certificate. Coming to our next topic, which is GST Network, that is GSTN. Now, this is in news because ICICI Bank has exited the GST network. Alright, so we'll talk a little bit more about this bank, this news. Now, the ICICI Bank has exited the company following the government's decision to make GSTN into a public sector entity last year. So, initially GST network was initially a private network, and now the government has decided to make it into a public sector entity. Now, the center will own 50% stake in the GST network, and the rest will be held by states in the new structure. So, if that is going to be the new structure, we'll talk about what the structure is currently. Now, the GSTN is basically a complex IT initiative. It will establish a uniform interface for the taxpayer and also create a common and shared IT infrastructure between center and states. Now, as per the current structure, it is a not-for-profit, non-governmental, private limited company. Understand, that is the main idea you need to keep here. Now, the government of India, under the current circumstances, holds 24.5% of equity in GSTN. All the states in the Union Territory, including Delhi and Pondicherry, and the empowered committee of state finance ministers together hold 24.5%, and the remaining 51% is owned by 5 private financial institutions, and these institutions are ICICI Bank, NSC, HDFC Limited, HDFC Bank, and finally LIC Housing Finance Limited. Coming to the next topic, which is Indigent Genome Project. Now, this is in news because CSIR has offered free mapping of Indian genomes. Coming and talking about this project, the Indigent Genome Project or the Indigent program aims to undertake whole genome sequencing of thousands of individuals representing diverse ethnic groups from India. Now, the objective is to enable genetic epidemiology and develop public health technology applications using population genome data. Coming to the aim of this project, the first one is to test if it is possible to rapidly and reliably scan several genomes and advise people on health risks that are manifesting in their genes. The second main aim is to understand the variation and the frequency of certain genes that are known to be linked to certain types of diseases. And finally, it is being implemented by CSIR and the Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology in Delhi and CSIR Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology in Hyderabad. Coming and talking about a small area under this topic is that Indigene card and Indigene mobile application. Now, anyone can register for a free mapping of their entire genome under the Indigent initiative. Now, those who get their genes mapped this way will get a card and access to an app. Now, this will allow them and the doctors basically to access clinically actionable information on their genomes. Now, talking about the benefits of this initiative, there will be epidemiology of genetic diseases and enable cost-effective genetic tests. Others are going to be carrier screening applications for expectant couples, enabling efficient diagnosis of heritable cancers, and we have pharmacogenomic tests to prevent adverse drug reactions. Coming to the next topic, which is India, Nepal, Bhutan Trans-Border Conservation Area. Now, talking about this news, it is in news because India, Nepal and Bhutan have together drafted a memorandum of understanding to create a trans-boundary wildlife conservation peace park. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about this park. Now, the proposed park will include biodiversity-rich landscapes in adjoining areas of the 3 countries. Now, unlike other parks which are basically species-oriented, this peace park will be landscape-oriented. That is the speciality about this new park. Now, in the new peace park, the entire park will have its own conservation protocols completely based on the landscape that it is having. Now, the initiative was started by India keeping in view of the migratory wildlife species in the region, especially that of elephants. Now, the park will be an extension of the Manas Park, which is located in Assam. It is a transboundary protected area in India and in Bhutan, which has a landscape orientation. Coming and talking about the Manas National Park, the Manas National Park is basically a UNESCO Natural World Heritage Site, a Project Tiger Reserve and a Biosphere Reserve. So understand the rich biodiversity that this national park actually holds. This national park is contiguous with the Royal Manas National Park in Bhutan. So it's one continuous stretch. It is home to many endangered species like Assam roof turtle, golden langur, hispid hare, pygmy hog, etc. And this park is also famous for wild water buffaloes. This park is located on the Manas River, which is a major tributary for Brahmaputra. And here in the image, you can see the location of Manas National Park. Coming to the last topic of the day, which is Jan Suchna Portal of 2019. Now, it is the public information portal launched by Rajasthan. So, keep that in mind. Okay, it's by a certain state. Now, the portal aims to provide information to the public about availability of food grains and ration shops, implementation of schemes and their beneficiaries, land records and social security pensions and government authorities and departments, empowering them with the access to useful information. So, that's all for the day. If you have any doubts or queries, you can write down in the comment section below. Thank you.
So please like, share and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Follow our website neoiasgap.com for the detailed content and monthly prelims digest. Also join our current affairs exclusive test series through the website. And finally, participate in the daily current affairs prelims infotainment quiz at our Telegram channel, that is Neo IAS Prelims, at 9:30 p.m.